Are you sitting comfortably? Then we'll begin.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world away from the numbers.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 201 of There's Still Time, the AFTN soccer show. And we're bringing you this episode from the Whitecaps new training centre, which was opened on Wednesday. We're watching a game play out just now between some of the fringe MLS guys and the residency guys. We're here to celebrate the opening of the Whitecaps training centre, as I said, and it's a beautiful facility. We got a tour this morning.
Nice setup, very nice setup.
Yeah, and there's a lot to really admire about it. They've got cedar trees planted all around the pitches. The plan of those is for them to grow up and then they'll spread out a bit, get topped off and just have a fully enclosed training space for the Whitecaps. They've got a couple of full training pitches. They're going to be hosting the MLS team, the WFC2 team, and the residency teams from under 14 up as well. So, I mean, it's a fantastic facility.
Yeah, and inside it's perfect. They really want to talk about how, one side is WFC2 and lower, and the other side is the first team, and how they want everybody to aspire to get to that other side. You turn right for the first team, and you turn left for everybody else.
Yeah, and the groups will mingle. They're able to mingle in the lunch area, but
the training area.
Yeah, it's aspirational, as Steve said. They're wanting the under 14s, under 16s to come in and see what their pathway is. It's a clear pathway. They're going to move from one locker room to the other locker room, and it's based a lot on what things like Ajax and Arsenal have done over the years, and it really does look a fantastic facility. And it's also a facility that you feel is possibly going to help attract players to the club, because it's a great selling point. And it might also be a facility that sees teams want to train out of here, maybe more national team games, possibly international teams having this as a base if they're coming over for summer friendlies. And that was something I put to Bobby Lenarduzzi, along with a few other things. So let's hear my chat with Bobby now. So Bobby, the training centre finally opened. It's been a long time coming. What exactly does it mean to the club to have this now?
Well, it's great to have a place that you can call home. And if I go back to the original Whitecaps in 1974, we've always been gypsies. There's countless parks and facilities that we've been at throughout that time. And so the idea of having not just a home, but a home that and difficult to describe to people that haven't had the opportunity to walk through it, but it's a fully functioning facility. It utilizes almost every square foot to the max, and I think what it does is it helps us ideally get to another level based on the work environment that the players will be able to enjoy. And if I look at last night, with Alfonso, well, obviously Alfonso and Russell coming on in the match, and Marcel starting the whole way. Not so much Marcel, but if you look at Russell was one of the initial intake to the residency squad, and he's kind of been with us for an extended period of time. and is fighting for that first team spot in the minutes. But last night when he came on, he actually changed the game, I thought, in the way that he went about it. And then you've got the more recent example of the residency program, which is Alphonso Davies, and he did what he's been doing with us. He comes on and makes a difference. So if the facility can help us to create more of those types of players, then we're going to be a better club as a result of it. And our national team, equally importantly, will ideally be in a spot where they're going to qualify for the 2022 World Cup.
And having a facility like this here, is it going to help maybe bring national teams to play more games in Vancouver, or even like international friendlies, not necessarily involving the Caps, but like other clubs?
Well, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn here. Sometimes I do, which my counterparts get a little perturbed. But we did have a call from Eintracht Frankfurt of the Bundesliga, and they were coming over on tour, and they're going to be in Seattle, I think along the Northwest, potentially California. They actually came out and wanted and actually had a look at the facility. In the end, they've decided not to, but not because they didn't like the facility. So, to your point, there's the clubs are interested in coming to North America. So now we have this to ideally add to everything else that we have in this province to actually tempt teams to come out.
Talking about tempting teams, is it maybe something that you can also use to tempt players? Like if you're in negotiations, show a player just what you have here.
No question, and I think, well, Freddie's here, so we don't have to tempt him. But I know that he, in addition to other players, when they actually walked onto the grass pitch and looked at the building, and then went in and did the tour that you guys went through today. He said this is a great place. This will be a great place to come to work. And when you consider the amount of time that is involved in the training and the video room stuff, you're here a lot. So if you love where you're going, it ideally will help your frame of mind, which ideally will help you to perform well on a game day.
That's great. Thanks, Bobby.
Okay.
So Bobby Lenarduzzi there, just talking about everything to do with the training centre. And I do think it is going to attract international teams to kind of have this as a base, maybe have more national teams come and play out of Vancouver, train here, especially in the winter months. But you're a little bit more sceptical, Steve, about it maybe having the ability to attract better players to the club.
I think better players, I think there's facility. They finally caught up, basically. I think this is a really good step. There's some facilities out there in MLS that have these kind of facilities. I think this will help for sure, but I don't think the number one priority is attracting players. I think it's maintaining the players they bring in, that they'll say, I enjoy this. And I think it also will be the number one thing is the residency and building players up to the first team. I think that is probably the number one thing. I think attracting players, I think some players will get attracted to this, especially, but I think the top players, I think they're used to this kind of stuff, and they'll seek something else. I don't think this will be a major selling point for them. It'll be a selling point, not a major one.
I mean, the only other training centre we've been to the one at Portland, and this looks nice. I mean, the Portland one was impressive, but this one just has a better feel to it.
It's newer.
Yeah.
It's a new shine.
It's very new. It looks like an IKEA showroom as we got the tour. Check out the photos on AFTN.ca and you'll see what we mean about that.
And our Twitter too. It's really
yeah, but I mean, it is a fantastic facility. Keep saying that. We've not been paid to say that. We genuinely feel that it is a great facility. And yeah, attracting residency players, that's definitely going to be a boon, because if you've got players that are in academies elsewhere and they're maybe a little bit concerned about coming out to Vancouver and having this as their new home, you see what they're going to play, and it's going to make their parents as well feel a little bit more comfortable about sending their kids out to here.
Yeah, and they'll be staying in the west side of Vancouver now, near UBC.
Going to the secondary school up here, University Hill, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. And then also, I think attracting would be good too. But then I think those players especially will know that they're getting developed better too, because they are going to be near the first team. So they'll have players that they like on the first team, and they'll want to be knowing that they're training in the same facility as these guys, and that'll make them get better and want to advance.
And an interesting thing is going to be like how it affects the homegrown, and by that I mean BC lower mainland players. They've been going to Burnaby Secondary School for a while. A lot of them are based out in Surrey and in the Valley. Is it going to make a difference? Are they going to want to add this extra travel time and come out and play here and still be part of the programme without billeting? I don't know, it's a lot to take in, but I put that to Greg Anderson, along with a lot of other things just about the training facility, what it means to the team, and a lot more beside. So let's hear what Greg had to say. So it's been a long time coming, Greg. The training centre finally finished. What exactly does it mean to the club to have this now?
Well, it's a huge opportunity for us to continue to develop the club. You know, we've been operating as a true football club for a number of years now, but we've had people in multiple locations. We've had the first team out here at UBC. We've had the WFC2 residency out in Burnaby, and our administration offices down in Gastown at the Landing. So trying to navigate through 3 different locations has been a challenge. But to have everybody in one location, you know, if a player in the U18s has had an exceptional month and the coaches decide they want to give him a taste of WFC2 training or first team training, before it was a 3-day process of logistics trying to figure out how to get the player and his gear from Burnaby out to UBC and the timing of school and everything. Here we've got the high school right across the street. We'll have everybody under one roof. So the movement of players is one thing. Also the collaboration amongst the groups. You know, we have club technical meetings. We try to have them every couple of months. And trying to bring everybody together under one roof to have a meeting to talk about all the players in the club is also a big challenge when you have 3 different locations and schedules. Having everybody here will make it much easier for coaches to collaborate. If they want to talk about a player, all they have to do is grab them from another office or shout across the room, because they're all going to be in one area all the time. So I think to build that collaboration, to continue to execute on the philosophy that we have as a club, and build out that philosophy is going to be a lot easier once we're all in one place. Plus, you know, some of the things we talked about during the tour, the aspirational elements for the young players, it will be fantastic to have a U14 player in the same building as our first team players, to see what it's like to be a professional, to see how hard they work, to see how hard they train, and to see what it looks like when they watch first team training, to have the ability to sit down with one of our first team guys and have lunch or have a drink with them, a coffee with them, to really understand what it means to be a pro. So I think those are the things that are really going to help us to develop as a club.
I was going to ask about that. So we talked about how there's no lines and the groups can mingle. Are you going to encourage like the younger players to ask the older players to share their experiences and stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, I think what we'll do is we'll some of the first team guys are going to do that naturally, just because of the characters that they are, like a Mauro Rosales or a Freddie Montero or Jordan Harvey. Those guys, you know, are just natural mentors that they will do it naturally. You know, I think we'll create some boundaries and rules where the players need to be invited in, and but I think a lot of that will come by osmosis. But I think a lot of it will come, you know, through the guys that are natural leaders, and we'll encourage that mixing and that transfer of knowledge.
And WFC2, you're expecting them to kind of come and train out here from next month?
Yeah, we haven't finalized the exact date, but yeah, we're just going to wrap up there. We wanted a few weeks for us to figure out how the building operates before we bring the next group in, and then residency will come when their next cycle starts in August.
And with the residency, has there been any issues with getting billets, or are you concerned that the kids that already stay with their parents maybe out in the valley, that they may choose to leave the programme instead of coming all the way out here?
Yeah. It's been a big logistical task. Dave Irvine's done a ton of work on securing the relationship with the school and the school board. First was moving 90 players from, 90 residency players from Burnaby here, but all the players that go to school at Burnaby Central, to have all that stuff transferred out to University Hill. the other issues were obviously the building, and we feel like we've made some really good progress on that. So I think we're going to be okay come August with a number of families. But we do certainly encourage people to come forward if they're interested in housing one of our players. And then transportation is a challenge. Everybody is used to getting their themselves or their child to Burnaby. So we've had a lot of meetings with the parents about it, had a number of meetings, conducted surveys, focus groups on how we can ease that transition over. And we're looking at things like identifying a few transit hubs within the city where kids will take transit in, and we'll have shuttles that move those kids from those hubs to UBC and back. So we've had a lot of consultation with the parents, and I think for the most part everybody feels pretty comfortable about making it work. And I think it also eases it when you get out to a facility like this and you see what the opportunities are.
With not having a training facility in the past, has that cost getting players to the club, or is it not that important a factor in attracting names to come and play for the team?
I think we're just naturally fortunate that we're in a beautiful city. We're in one of the best cities in the world. We have a fantastic stadium and a fantastic fan base. So we've been able to tell a really good story about coming here. So we haven't had an issue with that before. And to be fair, the facility that we've been in for the first team, when you're talking about specifically player recruitment, was nice and was functional. Now I think it's just going to take us to a whole nother level when we can show an overhead shot of this facility and look up how sound, and then turn the drone or the plane and look downtown and actually see the stadium. I'm not sure there are too many settings in the world like this to have a facility like this. So it's certainly going to help us to recruit first team players when you're looking internationally. Other teams will be out and train around this facility too from MLS, and hopefully some of those players will look at it and say maybe one day I'd like to play there. But also I think when you're recruiting families for the residency program and they see the potential of a facility like this and to further the development of a young player, it can only help.
At the start of the year there was kind of murmurs WFC2 may move away, there may be an NWSL team coming in. Mm-hmm. If a women's team was to come in, is there room here for that, and is there any update on either of those two things?
No, there's no update at this time on either of those, and I think if either of those situations do become a reality, we'd look at what the various options are to accommodate a women's team or to deal with a potential move of the WFC2 team.
Great, thank you so much for your time, Greg, and love the place. So that was Greg Anderson, Vice President of Soccer Operations for the Whitecaps there, talking about all things to do with the training centre. And one of the things that Bobby mentioned in our chat with him was he touched upon that he hopes that this is going to help develop more players for the Canadian national team. And he mentioned there that Marcel de Jong started the game against Curaçao for Canada on Tuesday. The two Whitecaps homegrown players also played significant parts in the sort of comeback.
And
one of the
made a change to the game too, affected the game.
One of the old-timers, Russell Tybert, and the new face of the residency programme, Alfonso Davies.
So we're joined by Zach now also. Zach, good to have you here.
Good to be here.
So let's talk about that Canada game yesterday. Michael has now walked away because he doesn't want to talk about it. He's still brewing over the Scotland-England game. Yeah. But Canada itself, obviously it wasn't a great performance, but a lot of positives to take out of it.
It had the feel of like us a little bit.
First time with the coach too.
Yeah, first time with the coach, but it felt a little bit like we were playing to our opponent's level a little bit, especially in the first half. It felt that way. Second half, it felt like it more opened up. And
took command of the game.
It took command of the game, but ultimately it came down to we didn't take our chances. And we talk about this a lot when we talk about the Whitecaps.
Yeah.
Almost every season in different ways. But we didn't take our chances. And so that was unfortunate. Like you were saying before, though, it was great to see both Rusty and Alfonso come on and play a role in changing the game and winning the game. Alfonso won the penalty, which should have led to the winning goal, but ultimately...
Well, eventually led to the winning goal.
Yeah, eventually led to the winning goal because because off the throw and after the missed PK or the PK off the post, Jackson Hamel got the match winner, which was nice to see. For it was the game was in. I don't know if anyone knows, but the game was in Montreal. I don't know if anyone in Montreal knew, but the game was in Montreal.
It was missed by a lot of people.
Shout out to the Voyageurs who actually did show up and chose to support, because you could hear them on the broadcast, so that was nice to hear and see. But yeah, very empty stadium. Jackson got the winner. The other person was Rusty, and it was great to see Rusty play. One of the things I think that was positive was that Canada played a higher pressing game than they normally do, and that suits Russell's industry and Russell's like feistiness and tenacity. Fits him really well, and so
it also suits Canada's kind of style of play from back in the day too, when they would like push up and pressure people and not always sit back and try to hit people on a counterattack. They liked making people make mistakes with the pass, and why not do it now too?
Sure, and Rusty. It also got him, he was way more forward up the pitch than he usually is, and you got to see moments of his creativity, and you got to see him have a couple strikes on goal, and I know, or towards goal, I know they weren't all on goal, but you got to see some offensive output from Rusty that we don't always get to see here, and you could just tell, like when you're watching the game, when you watch him, you could just tell, like you could see his heart for it, you could see his passion, it was good to see him just enjoying his football.
For sure. But I think the talk of the game afterwards, and I think he was surrounded by media, was a certain 16-year-old. It was mentioned maybe 10, 15 times during the broadcast that he was 16. What were your thoughts on Alfonso? I thought he did change the way the game was going. Him and Jackson Hamel, actually, they were a good combination. I
think we saw a lot in for Canada what we see with Vancouver. Him come on and be able to. I mean, he has pace, he has movement, he's willing to take people on, and you saw that sometimes not come off, and a bunch of times where it did come off. You also saw he likes to shoot. And he had some chances, especially that one he put right at the keeper. That strike, sort of, he's falling down. I don't know about you, but I was just like, I thought it was going to go in.
I did look like it was going in.
I was really excited.
I actually thought that Laren that miss earlier when Hoylett crossed it into the box. That was a bad miss.
Laren was disappointing again.
I know, once again.
When you watch him it's weird. You watch him for Orlando, and a lot of the chances he gets in a better finishing position and finishes. Where with Canada, it's not so much. But he still obviously contributes.
And you can't see the service wasn't there for him either, because there was enough service with Hoylett. Hoylett was providing a lot of service to the strikers.
But no, I thought Alfonso was great. He was like a burst of energy. He obviously won the penalty. Again, just from his pace and his willingness to drive towards the net and take people on, and it was great. It was great to see. I mean, I know there's probably some people who are disappointed. Okay, this small country. I think their ranking is higher than ours, but this small country with.
Well, that means we'll move up if we got to be a team higher ranking now.
Yeah, but it's also a friendly and whatever. Yeah, but yeah,
still will.
But so I know a lot of people were disappointed that we just didn't totally walk over them. I saw even I don't know, it was from yesterday or today. I saw Marius Rovda joking about it on Twitter. I know some people were disappointed that we just didn't trounce them. In the same way that some people were disappointed the stadium was so empty, but
I was more disappointed in that we didn't trounce them. Not even empty. It was just it wasn't even close to half full.
Well, the only good. I mean, it's a friendly. It's against a small nation that no one has. No one's going to see anyone on that from that side. And though, I mean, this is obviously maybe incredibly selfish, but it means that hopefully. More of these games will be able to be played in new places. So with the advent of the Canadian Premier League, hopefully some of these small venues will be able to have those type of friendlies. And it also, I think, makes the matches that we're here on the West Coast, the support that they got, it also highlights that.
For sure. I know it's obviously just one game in, but just finally, what are your overall thoughts of the new Zambrano era for Canadian soccer?
Yeah.
Initial thoughts.
The hiring was not for lack of a better term, it wasn't sexy. It wasn't like exciting. It wasn't like wow.
Inspiring.
It wasn't glitzy. It wasn't inspiring in and of itself. I think it's a solid hiring, and it has potential to. He has potential to do well in terms of his knowledge of the region, knowledge of North American football as well, and connections. I mean, ultimately, honestly, I believe even when you look back at the successes, when you look back at the Gold Cup and stuff that we got under Holger. I think one of the big things is how you build the squad. It's not the squad. How you build the player pool relationally. I think that's going to be really telling when we see how much he's able to get the buy-in from the players and kind of continue to foster that and build that. Because if the players don't feel like he's a great coach, if the players don't really rate him, or he's not able to foster good community with them, I think that that'll be a hindrance to him doing well. We've seen that with past coaches.
Oh, look who's back.
Yeah, I didn't really say much on that because I wasn't watching the game. I had it on, but I had the sign down. I was watching Crystals FC and DC United.
Oh, right. Nice goal.
Oh, fantastic goal by Crystals.
The celebration was great.
Yeah, but from what I did see, especially the end when Alfonso came on, he definitely had a spark. I just hope it's not going to put too much pressure on him now from everyone expecting that he is the next saviour of Canadian soccer.
Now we
all know he is.
But now that everybody's seen him on the national thing, it's been like from Vancouver saviour to now national saviour. So it's going to be moving on. But I don't think anybody will.
But again, that's okay as long as it's not like over the top. And the thing is, if the signs aren't promising, but if Balou Tabla comes in as well, then you have this. It's not just one dude; it's a couple of young dudes, and you couple that with maybe the end of Atiba's career and your guy there. What's his name? Scottish guy.
Scotty
Arfield.
Scotty the traitor Arfield.
So there's a number of pieces. Junior Hoylett. There's a number of pieces there that are really promising. Plus you got bite in midfield with guys like Will Johnson and Samuel Piet and Rusty.
And you know what? And if you even look further down the road, you got like obviously these guys got developed, but you got Dario Zanetta. Who's looking good in Scotland. You got even just in the Whitecaps side, you got like a guy like Caden Chung, who is kind of like still getting his feet up the ladder and everything like that. So it's like step by step, you're getting more and more good young players. It's a matter of them continuing to develop as the years go on.
I enjoyed watching Fraser Art again.
There you go.
Two games in a row for Canada.
I thought he's played well.
He looked very promising on the right side. No, not for you.
That's only because he didn't choose Scotland. That's why you're shaking your head.
I honestly, he was at fault, I think, for the first goal. Curaçao's goal.
Because the guy,
they didn't clear the cross.
James' marking was also very poor.
James' marking was
poor. Which
poor,
he made up for with his goal.
It was poor defending all right.
Yeah.
But the cross shouldn't have come in, though.
Right,
I do agree with that.
But for me, the biggest thing to come out of this game, from a Whitecaps perspective, is none of our three guys, as far as we know, got injured.
Which is
unlike our two Costa Ricans.
Those Ticos.
Christian Bolaños.
That's revenge for us. That's revenge for getting Kevin Elliman. Did they injured a couple of Whitecaps?
Yeah, Bolaños back at Whitecaps training today on Wednesday. Not in a sling, but running around
tape.
well.
He's got tape on the
tape
side.
on it, but he wasn't favouring it too much when I saw him.
He was also training with the recovering injury guys of Nicholas Mosquito, Christian Dean and Bernie Abini.
And Eric Hurtado.
Eric Hurtado's kind of doing a little bit more on his side, kind of on his own.
Also, should we mention that Christian Dean was starting to look good. He's kicking the ball back and forth and everything too. So
it could be a week or two before he's back.
Yeah,
available for selection.
So it doesn't look like Kendall Wasson is going to be good to go on Saturday.
That's a shame.
Which kind of brings us to the question of who's going to play centre back. Christian Dean's not good to go. And Zach, you asked Robbo, does that mean it's down to a case of it's going to be AJ or Cole Seiler?
And his response was, it's not just between the two of them. The third option would be Marcel de Jong at centre back,
which terrified me just the thought of that.
Well, I mean,
he played 90 minutes against for Canada too.
Right. What he said was against Montreal, he played him as a centre back. Now I think that was part of the
that was the three at the back. Yeah. So I'm not sure Marcel knew where he was playing in that game, though. To be honest,
no, the home leg. I thought he played quite well, but. I can't remember the second leg now. It's kind of blocked it out of my memory.
Was there a second leg? I thought we won the 2-1. Yeah. In the final.
But no, so those are the three options: Cole, AJ, or Marcel. And you'd have to put your money on it being AJ.
Yeah.
As much as it'd be nice for Cole to get an opportunity. It's got to be AJ. And
I think if you're not going to put AJ, then you're really concerned about the continuity up top.
And so then it's going to be interesting to see what happens if AJ drops back. Who drops in? Is it Rusty?
Well, also what the formation's going to be. Will we go to 4-2-3-1? Will we keep the 4-1? Yeah, will we keep the 4-1-4-1?
Because with Bola out, you assume Shea is going to start if he's ready. I haven't heard that he's not. So I would assume Shea would be in there.
I could see Shea up top and maybe Montero dropping back into the 10 role. So I think it's going to be a 4-2-3-1, which I think will then have Chani and Laba as the two holding guys going forward. And then that's going to allow you to bring in Shea with Davies on the right, Teixeira on the left.
I would rather than play a 4-1-4-1 and keep it the same. And basically have Tybert in for Jacobson, Shea for Bolaños, and just keep everything else exactly.
I tend to agree with you, Michael, and I think it might be called a 4-2-3-1, but I think it's going to look a little bit more it could look more like a 4-4-2 with two strikers up top.
Yeah. Now, Dallas are coming. They're no longer in first place after a couple of bad results. They've dropped down to fourth. The Caps are fifth. Caps are 4 points behind them, but a game in hand. So this is a massive game coming up.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's, Western Conference games, especially when you're close to the team at the table, are always huge. And Dallas, there's a history there, obviously, both in league play and in MLS Cup. And there's a lot of people here who strongly dislike them. So I don't think that's changed, even though some of their personnel has.
I think the take out the where they are ranked and everything and where they are in the conference, I think it's just a big game because Vancouver's playing at home and they need to keep winning games at home. They can't give away points at a BC place at all. And that's the only reason for me that it's a big game.
And we want to see them come back after a break, because I not have it like 2014 when they came back and there was that horrible game against Montreal, and then their season kind of went a little bit down the pan after it for a spell. Summer slump and all that. There's some tough games coming up. They've been through a really tough patch, but like you say, Steve, you have to win the games at home. And I feel... let's get to some predictions then. I feel a bit confident with this. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Whitecaps.
Yeah, I also feel like what I've seen from FC Dallas, the parts I've been able to watch them play, I feel like it's a bit of a disappointing season for them. I know they have more games in hand or whatever because they got games off for the Champions League, but not having Mauro Diaz has just been such a negative for them, and I feel like they haven't been able to overcome that. And so, yeah, I think I was going to say 2-1, but maybe I'll just say 3-1 just to be different.
Okay.
I will be different. I'll say 2-2 draw.
So just before we go, we're going to bring you a little bit of audio from the Dallas side. Dallas came through a very tough game against Tulsa Roughnecks in the US Open Cup on Wednesday night, needing a stoppage time goal to come through with a 2-1 victory. Sadly, the game didn't go into extra time and penalties. There was a lot of first-teamers playing in that game that you think are going to probably pull double duty with the game against Vancouver on Saturday. Long trip now for them from Dallas up to Vancouver. Short turnaround, that can only work in the favour of the Caps. So let's hear now from Oscar Pareja. Head coach Oscar Pareja and defender Ryan Hollingshead, talking about that trip to Vancouver and what they're expecting from the game and their recovery from the US Cup Open exploits.
Challenge in that, or maybe something we don't think about? We know that it was hot today. We know that Vancouver is a long way away. There's a plastic field or artificial turf. Is there a challenge that you're thinking of that maybe that comes with the travel, the trip after going to Portland, with all this stuff? I know your team can handle it, but is there something that you're worried about?
I have to be honest, and we always, as the coaches, see that as you know what, we were tired here, and then that's why we didn't get result. But I think the competition, when you are competing frequently, I think that gives you a different rhythm. So I don't mind to. Now when you come with Wednesday, Saturday, that's heavy. But coming from Wednesday through Saturday, they're professional players who are or should be prepared to do it.
You guys head to Vancouver tomorrow afternoon. How important is it to kind of switch the focus right now and get ready? Because, you guys want to get last weekend's taste obviously out of your mouth and get another win on the road.
Right, no, important. We have in our mind the importance of the next 2 games away. We need to get some points. Then we will have 2 games at home. That put us in the top spot, surely. And now what we are learning from the past season, especially the past seasons, but especially the last one, is that this long journey, you got to be patient, And I'm not too desperate just to keep the first spot. I want to win all of them. The boys want to, but we want to prepare this team for the have first and a spot in the playoffs, and second to be that playoff team that is fighting for the title.
Now turning to this weekend in Vancouver, another road trip, another game on turf. I know you guys have the depth where you can rotate a lot of guys out, but there's a chance that you and some other guys who played tonight will be back on the field. How do you make sure your body's ready for that kind of quick turnaround and difficult surface?
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround, and that's just the nature of this league, right? Long traveling, big away trips, 4-hour flights, stuff like that. So our team does everything we can, but yeah, we're gonna be, getting treatment tomorrow, making sure that everybody's ready to go for Vancouver, and we fly out tomorrow, so it's a really quick turnaround. It's all up to your professionalism, taking things seriously, getting in the ice bath, taking care of your body, and that's on you as a professional.
More than just taking care of your body, you guys have kind of a sour taste in your mouth after last week. You have all kind of the bodies back and ready to go. How important is it to go to Vancouver this weekend and have a solid showing?
Yeah, we want to win every game we play. Having the full squad back is huge. There's going to be more international breaks we know coming up as well, so we need to take advantage of these times where we've got the whole team. We need to get 3 points. We feel like Vancouver is a place we can do that, and ultimately we feel like we're the best team in the league, and so we can beat any team we play against, and we really need to do that.
So Oscar Pareja and Ryan Hollingshead there. And that is it for this episode of the podcast. Just before we go, let everyone know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at WhitecapsBeat.
For myself on Twitter, it's at ZacharyAM, and I'm a part of the movement Curva Collective.
I'm Michael McCall. You can find me online at AFTN Canada. Read all our stuff away from the numbers on aftn.ca. Tune in to CITR Radio on Sunday, 11 o'clock, when the next episode of the AFTN Soccer Show will be live on air. Listen at 101.9 FM if you're in the Lower Mainland, or CITR.ca online, and we'll have the podcast for that out on Monday. The AFTN Soccer Show is brought to you in partnership with BC Soccer Web, your one-stop site for all your local, national and international news, links and stories. So check them out on bcsoccerweb.com. As always, thanks for listening, take care, and until next time, Mon the Caps.
Going to your first match is an experience you never forget. The atmosphere of what's going on around the pitch looks beautiful, and you always look and go, wow, I'd love to play here one day. If you get the bug, it's going to stay with you for life.
10 minutes left, yeah, but